Welcome back. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast, and I'm Aidan, your host and the founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Look, before we kick off, have you subscribed to the podcast? Have you subscribed to the YouTube channel? And more importantly, have you taken advantage of any of our free resources, all available at themodernfatherhoodclub.com? They're designed to help you navigate those early years, those most precious years, those years that are filled with challenge, those years that are filled with uncertainty. Because as your children get older, they begin to find their voice, they begin to find their personality, they begin to understand who they are, what they love, what they believe in, what they believe about themselves. This week, Henry had a speech to do, and he was filled with uncertainty, he was filled with fear. He was worried about sharing what he wanted to be with his classmates. So what did he do? He wrote an alternative story, an alternative narrative. He wanted to be an electrician. Now, underneath the surface, he's never wanted to be an electrician. He's always wanted to be a singer, a songwriter, a guitar player. That's his dream. That's the thing that he loves. He writes songs now. He can recall lyrics easily. He loves listening to music. So when we asked him, well, why have you written that you want to be an electrician? I don't want people to laugh at me. I don't want people to make fun of me. But when you follow your dream, you've got to be prepared for the voice of others, the opinion of others, the challenge that comes from others. But they cannot be allowed to influence your path, your dream, your success, everything that you achieve. That's what fatherhood is about, right? It's about helping our children recognize that at times maybe we have been fearful. Maybe we have taken a step back from the limelight. Maybe we have made sacrifices that we shouldn't have made. What we need our children to understand is that life is what you make of it. You can deliver on your dream. You can deliver the future that you want. We have to encourage them to do so. We have to encourage them to live on the edge, to live on that line of fear, of uncertainty, the thing that makes them feel uncomfortable. It's to teach them to follow their heart. It's to teach them to understand what they're truly capable of. But at times we take a step back. At times we don't always encourage at the level that they need. At times, we're too realistic. At times, we worry, we fear for their future. But if we look at 2025 now, the world is moving at pace. Things that our children are learning in school could be obsolete in the future. Still, society pushes them toward conforming. Our role as parents is to help them understand what they're capable of. Push them in the right direction, give them that encouragement that they do need, help them understand when they've failed, help them understand setback, help them understand about perspective and the importance of it and how it can shape the way they see something ahead of them, something that's challenging, that obstacle. So let me give you an example. Yesterday we had a cup game in Henry's under-9s team. A solid performance by everyone involved, strong, determined, full of energy, full of running. Did we convert our chances? No. Did we lose that game and only concede 2 shots? Yes. They were devastated. There was tears. There was frustration. But when I sat them down at the end of the game and I asked them what they thought went well, nothing. We've lost. Yes, we lost. But if we've played that well and lost, one of our best performances, how is that a loss? Yes, we failed to reach the next round, and they have to understand that sometimes you lose and sometimes you win. But if you lose and you've given everything, well, is it losing? I wanted them to understand that if they gave it their all, which they did, and there were some exceptional individual performances, and they still lost, then you get up and you go again. You try again the following week. That game no longer matters. It's consigned to the history books. Now we move forward because we've learned more every single game. We are bettering ourselves as a group. They are playing as a team. They encourage one another throughout the game. And they were unlucky at times. By the end of the conversation, we were thinking about what somebody had done to contribute to the group, how their performance mattered to the group, who played well, what they liked about the game, what they liked about each other's performances. Because we have to teach our kids about failure. We don't win everything. We don't lose everything. But what we have to help them understand is there's a fine margin between success and failure. And it's those that try, it's those that believe, it's those that understand what it takes that will have that opportunity to succeed. But it's also those that are willing to take a risk, willing to believe in themselves, willing to trust the process, willing to respect who they are. They do not need the voice of others to deter them from their greatest objective. So going back to Henry's speech, he had one speech to make. And by the end of it, he was talking about determination, resilience, passion, the things that he loves, the fact that he wants to sell out stadiums. Now, it's a big dream, but it doesn't matter, because part of it is understanding what it takes to get there. There will be luck involved, but there will be hard work, there will be determination. But above all else, he's got to have the passion to follow, to succeed. Because without that passion, without that enthusiasm for the objective, how does he move forward? Well, he doesn't. He'll do it because it's a process. He won't do it because he loves it. And our role as parents is to help them connect with the things that they love, the passion, the joy, the enthusiasm, those things that fill their cup, but those things that create energy, those things that help them feel energized in that pursuit, because there will always be setback. There will always be things that knock their confidence. They have to be able to get up. They have to be able to realize that it's one step. Every step forward is progress. One step back is just a life lesson, something that they can react to, respond positively to. And if we're not teaching them that through our action, through our language, through the conversations that we have, then who will? Who will inspire them to become incredible? Because they have all got the capacity to be incredible. They all have the capacity to follow their heart, to follow their dreams. So what I'm saying is, step up, let them believe in themselves, help them create the narrative that inspires them to move forward. It doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your experience. What matters is that you are prepared to lead and inspire, to guide, to teach, to give them something to believe in, to give them something that matters, to give them something that fills their cup. That's leadership. That's fatherhood. This is Answer Me This. Let's lead by example and guide with passion, strength and courage. Now let's dive into the episode. So the question I have for you this week is, if today was your last full day, would you be proud of how you showed up? Would you be proud of the man they see? Would you be clear on the legacy that you're leaving behind? Let that sink in. Every week we ask one question. It's designed to test you, and it's designed to get you thinking about legacy, impact and influence. Are you brave enough to go deep, buck the trend and authentically tell your story? The questions posed are purpose-driven, thought-provoking and designed to make you think. So that before you head into that next interaction, before you lose your cool, you're focused on who they see, how they'll feel and what they'll learn. So this one's for you. If today was your last day, would you be proud of the man that showed up? It's uncomfortable, yet powerful. It reflects on the man you are and the man that they need you to be. It's about leadership, self-awareness, and giving your best. It's about uplifting those around you without losing sight of who you are, what you stand for, and what you believe in. It's about a blueprint for life, one that can help shape theirs. But it isn't about perfection. Perfection, that's not the point. Presence is. It's making sure you have it within you to deliver when they need it and when they don't think they need it. It's about living aligned to what's important so that it can drive your decision making and show them how it's done. Look, we set the bar, but the height of that bar, that's entirely up to us. We can show them the best of us, the worst of us, or we can shelter them from the real us. The thing is, it's that version of us that makes mistakes, wins some, loses his cool, gets frustrated, laughs, and gets involved. That's the man and dad they need. But the most important one, that's the dad who understands the cost of sacrifice, the dad who recognizes the importance of being selfless, but he understands that he too must be selfish to give them what they truly need. Every interaction is a lesson. One we're either prepared to teach from a position of knowledge, experience, and authority, or one where we're standing by their side. So my friend, this question, it demands real honesty. What would you leave behind? Would they be forced to pick up the pieces, or would they know where they stood and how you felt about them? Would they know who you were, and would they understand the man you are and what you stood for? Look, I'm not perfect. I'm not always on point. I rush in, I shout, and I lose my cool. But I'd like to think I'm self-aware enough to know when I've dropped the ball, to know when I've made a mistake, to know when my mistake is going to need work to undo it. The thing is, I also know this. I know what stress looks like. I understand how I respond under pressure. I know when I'm drained of energy and struggling to stay on top of everything. I know what burnout feels like, and I know how far I can push before that burnout takes place. I also understand how to regulate my emotion, my workload, my physical and mental health. I recognize how they're going to show up before they do, and I work hard to interrupt the cycle before it takes hold. See, that's what I want to leave behind. If today was my last day, I'd look back with pride. But I think I'd be hard on myself too, because I'm always looking for ways to improve, not just as Aidan, but as their dad. It wouldn't just be pride though, it would be gratitude. Grateful for the opportunity to feel real, unfiltered love, for the chance to shape who they become, for the chance to play, to laugh, to feel like a big kid again, for the time that we spent together, the warmth, those moments when for no reason at all, they just curl up next to you. I'd be grateful for the love I feel, the change I experience, the connection, the clarity, for those moments of immense pride that you feel. You know the pride I'm talking about. When they do something and you realise that they're growing into themselves, finding their feet, but above everything, they're caring, considerate and warm souls. So if today was your last day, have you given them the love they need? Did you give them what they needed when they needed it? Did you lead from the front, show up as a true, authentic version of you? How did you treat others? How did you make those you love feel in the moment about themselves? Did you empower, engage, lead with compassion? Did you know when to step up and step back. In 2020, I made this conscious choice. I needed to be better. I needed to get back on track, not just for them, but for me too. Today I'm up before them every day, not for ego, but for alignment, because I need to feel the burn before I feel their energy. I move, I build, I work on myself, mentally and physically, not to impress them, but to show up for them, fully, clean and focused. That's where I get my drive from, my energy and my pride. So if today was my last day, I'd be proud. Proud of where we've been, proud of who they're becoming, proud of the way we laugh, the way that we connect, the way they trust me. But to make it unforgettable, I wouldn't let life lead me, I'd lead it. I wouldn't let stress set the pace. I wouldn't check my phone 5 times before breakfast. I wouldn't react to the chaos. I'd own the tone of our home. I'd be the dad they needed, even if the day got messy, even if the moods weren't perfect. That's fatherhood. That's legacy. That's what they need. That's what you were built for. And that's who they're shaping you into. For you and me, there's more to do. We have so little time to enjoy it. And now is not the time to be distracted. Now is the time to focus on what's important, what matters, and what makes a bloody difference. As a family, there is so much more to do, more time to create memories, more joy to be had, more lessons to learn, more facts to absorb, and more laughs to be had. Now you've reflected on what you'd leave behind. What's your objective? What could you do this weekend to ensure time doesn't slip through your fingers? For me, it's a beach. It doesn't have to be hot or even warm. It's our favourite place to be. No plans, no time pressures. Just the sea, the sand, and the sound of them laughing. We'd slow the world down so we could speed up together. And I'd watch them. Really watch them. And remember that this is what matters. Because when you stop to watch, you see them come alive. The noise in the background drifts away, and all you see is laughter, confidence, and strength. You see who you've created and who they're becoming. They show up as themselves because they feel safe. And that, my friend, is down to you. This is the work. This is the legacy. I don't want my last day to come before I start to truly lead. That's the difference. Not being led by circumstance, but by choice. I'm done drifting. I'm here to design how I show up. For my boys, for my partner, for me. We've talked before about weighing up the cost and the benefit of your decisions. Reflecting on what you'll leave behind. If today was your last day, well, that gives you perspective, but also renewed motivation. You don't need a crisis. You don't need a last day to start living differently. You just need today. So ask yourself, what would make today unforgettable? Then go and do it before it's too late. I'd lead it. I'd take control of the day, the energy, the connection. Not waiting, not reacting. I choose to show up moment by moment. No matter what they threw at me, no matter how hard the week had been, I'd be there. Just us. No distractions, just presence. You see, you don't need a last day to lead your family like it matters. Just start with this one and make it count. Make memories and focus on what they need. Fill their cup and fill yours too. This week, I want you to reflect a little deeper. This won't happen every week, but in the lead up to 2026, I want you to dive deeper because we set the tone. We bring the energy and the enthusiasm for life. We mould them, and our decisions today shape who they become in the future. Your role isn't just to lead with confidence and strength, passion and pride. It's to lead with openness and heart. So this week, I've created some fatherhood reflection questions. We've been brutally honest about wanting to model better for our kids. But where are you still living by default instead of by design? We've spoken about being torn between outcomes and moments. So what would you change about today to make it unforgettable? You and I, we carry this deep sense of duty toward our partners. But when was the last time you made her laugh? Not fix, not just solve, just pure laughter. Her heart light, her guard down. We've talked about fighting legacy battles, stress versus strength, pressure versus presence. When you feel yourself slipping into old habits, distraction, pressure, avoidance, what's the trigger you need to notice faster? What's the reset ritual you can build into your day to pull you back to being present? And finally, you deserve to breathe too. Where are you putting impossible standards on yourself as a father, husband, leader? When and where is it okay to simply say, I'm enough today, and let the world pass you by for a moment? I want to thank you, not just for listening, but for making a difference. Your willingness to take on the challenge of asking difficult questions and reflecting on your role and impact, well, that's going to have a massive influence on how you show up in the moment. I'm grateful for your participation. I'm grateful for your commitment to those you love. We might never meet, but you and I are focused on the right things. Not just legacy, but leadership, and leadership that will stand the test of time. Thank you. As always, write it down, dive into the detail, and create something so powerful and so unique that you cannot wake up and not move toward it. Your change, any change, has to be necessary, and it's got to leave a mark. They will follow in your footsteps. They will learn your behaviours, adopt your values, and treat people in the same way that you treated them. So your role is simple. Give it everything you have. Give them what they need. Celebrate the influence of the people that shape their journey. This is the Modern Fatherhood Club. Lead from the front and never underestimate the power you have over who they become. Always be transformational. Lead with confidence, power, strength and pride. This has been Aidan. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening. Remember to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you haven't joined the Modern Fatherhood Club or grabbed any of our free resources, do so now. We have the New Dad Recharge, a paid course that will help you zero in on the things that truly matter, prioritize what's important, and lead from the front. And for those of you that are listening as new dads, our antenatal course is coming soon. If you're interested, please let us know in the comments. Let us know what you're fearing about becoming dad. Let us know what challenges you want to understand. And if you have questions, join the Modern Fatherhood Club. Grab the ultimate new dad toolkit, 5 resources, community membership, and access to question and answer sessions with me. Look, I'm committed to your development as a dad. I'm committed to my own development. I'm committed to understanding my mistakes, my shortcomings, and I'm also committed to understanding and playing to my strengths. I'm committed to leading by example, and I'm committed to leading by example. As always, thank you so much for listening. This has been Answer Me This, and I'll see you soon.